Hello, and today I am sharing with you guys my ninth graders homeschool curriculum for the upcoming school year. So I know that a lot of people are putting out curriculum videos right now, and there are a lot of high school curriculums, and they are very dual enrollment heavy and AP classes, and kids are doing all the things. But I have a child with severe ADHD and moderate dyslexia and a slew of other things that he struggles with day to day. So when I'm here to tell you that you are not going to find anything heavy, in fact, we are having more of a gentle homeschool year this year. So if that is something you are interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are absolutely on this journey together. So this year is a year of transitions, if you will. It is a year of becoming a little bit more independent, being able to manage his time a little bit better and not have to rely on me so much. It is about being able to follow a schedule and about being able to kind of be responsible and take pride in his things. Also important this year that he really is able to become a little bit more confident, not just in his schoolwork, but in his self-esteem as well. All right, so I have a huge stack of curriculum. So we're just gonna start from the top and work our way down. We're gonna start with math. So he started the year off with Math UC pre-algebra. We got halfway through the year and switched back to Learning Math Fast. So he completed book 3 of Learning Math Fast, which actually after doing Math UC pre-algebra, he was able to understand it a little bit better. So now he is finishing up book 4. I'm pretty sure he's almost done. I think he's on the last chapter actually. So we're probably gonna finish this up before we technically start school. And then I really went back and forth on starting book 5 of this because he really does enjoy it. It really is simple. It kind of cuts the crap and gets down to the nitty gritty. So I really like that about it. The problem is that I still end up teaching him quite a bit. And I'm not opposed to teaching him anything, but we are trying to become more independent. There are still a lot of subjects that he does need like actual hand holding with, which I'll kind of talk about in a minute. And so for something like math, it just seems like I'm explaining a concept that someone else who's better at explaining it could be explaining it. So we are going to try Denison Math, and we are going to try Success for Algebra 1. And so I think this will be better. This is actually designed for children with things like ADHD, dyslexia, and just kids that struggle with understanding math. And so again, it kind of cuts out all the crap and just gets down to the core of the math concepts. And so we are going to try that. It is a little bit pricey. So if it's not, and it's not really something you can buy used. So if it's something that doesn't really work well for him, we're kind of just going to have to push through this year. And then we may go back and do, I think there's 7 books. So he would do probably books 5 and 6 and then 7, you know, obviously. But he would probably just do them, and then when he's done, and maybe do some review or things like that. But math has been one of those things, if you guys are new to my channel, math has been a struggle for this particular child. And so we finally found something that worked with Learn Math Fast, but again, we needed to be a little bit more independent because I'm going to have 3 children that I am homeschooling this year, which is a little bit different. If you don't know, I have 5 kids. So we have 2 toddlers and 3 that will be in school this year. Okay, let's talk about language arts. So I don't know if other people are really doing this in high school, but for this particular child, there are certain things I want to focus on. Since he is not really college bound, there are things that I think he can focus on that aren't really more vocational things like that. He can still continue to focus on the core things that he needs the most help with. So when he had his dyslexia screening, he scored low in certain areas that we want to continue to push through with. So it's so weird because on his dyslexia screening, he scored like around grade level, but for his like state like testing, he scored at like an 11th grade level. So I don't know if he was just nervous that day or what, but we are going to continue with spelling power. We don't use this really the way it's written. We kind of just use it as more like a list, and then he will do different activities through the week, and then we'll do a spelling test at the end of the week. But it's not really like sit and study spelling words, right? It's like more kinesthetic, hands-on type of learning things. And then he will just keep doing the same words over and over and over again until he masters them. And I also like that it includes recall in here. So it's not just like you learn it once and then you move on. It brings review back into it, which he really needs in a lot of subjects. He is currently in level F. I think it goes all the way up to level K. This is like this is for ages 8 to adults. So there are some words in here I'm sure I don't know how to spell. So I got him the Not Consumed Reading Journal. This is for the high school level. And if you've never seen inside here, there is just different type of books. So you can do like, it says right here at the front, you can do biographies, you can do Christian lifestyle, money business, nonfiction, informational text, and then 4 fiction books. And then each day they kind of go through, depending on what type of book it is, they will go through, they'll do like a pre-reading, they'll ask questions and try to, you know, infer what the book is about. And then they'll do like setting, narration, connection, application, things like that. So this is going to be kind of what he works on periodically throughout the year. And then as far as what he's learning when it comes to literature, I ended up finding this. It is movies as literature. The important thing when it comes to literature is that he is reading good quality books and that he is learning about, you know, different things like setting and analysis and, you know, able to kind of draw conclusions and, you know, different things. I'm trying to find, so they talk about character study, character motivation, foreshadowing, mood, symbolism, all of those things, but instead of finding it in a book, they're finding it in movies. And so each movie has different things that they're learning. And so that is the important thing about literature in high school that we want to focus on. So for me, it does not have to be in a book. I think it's even better for him because he is visual and he has a difficult time with reading comprehension. So this is going to be really helpful for him. I don't know that we will get this done in a year. We may get this done in 2 years. I've always kind of said he's in between grades. He's like just enough grade level that I don't feel like holding him back would really be helpful, but he's also not quite, you know, on grade level in several areas. So that's the thing about homeschool, is that you can kind of pick and choose what works for you. But at the same time, I don't want to hold him back a year because he's not where other people think he should be, if that makes sense. As far as the reading he's going to be doing, that is actually going to come from his science, which I will talk about in a minute. But all of the books he's going to be reading are from his science curriculum. So for vocabulary, this actually came from the evaluator for his dyslexia. She recommended vocabulary cartoons. Both of my boys absolutely love these. We've been working on them this year once a week, and my daughter actually will take it and draw from it because they love it so much. It's just cute little things to help them remember. So it's funny pictures, funny sentences, and they both really enjoy it. And there's actually one for a higher grade that's for like the SATs and things like that. So once we finish this one up, we'll probably move into that one, but it's just getting him familiar with words and familiar with definitions and things like that. Okay, so I know that most high schoolers are not necessarily doing things like spelling and grammar anymore. They're more incorporating them and, you know, doing composition and things like that, and then figuring out their spelling and grammar through that and through their literature and all of that. But again, for this particular child, I feel like it is super important to target these specific areas right now when he's not 100% sure what he wants to do after high school. So I want to be able to focus on these things, and then maybe once he's in like 11th or 12th grade, when he kind of has a better idea and he maybe wants to take some college classes, or he wants to do technical things, or even just different electives, he has that option, and we don't feel like we're having to constantly go back and, you know, review things. So With that being said, I am using Winston Grammar with my 5th grader this year, and so I figured I would just take my 9th grader along for the ride with that. He did this probably 3 years ago when he was in 6th grade, maybe 7th grade, I can't remember. But he has not been doing well at all with Fix-It Grammar this year. We're in book 3, and I just found when I was grading his paper that he was just, it's like he completely forgot all of the grammar concepts. And that is not surprising for him, honestly, because if he does not have like strict review of things, he tends to forget them. So I think going through something like this again every few years is necessary for him. As far as writing and composition, he has been using Jump In, which is middle school composition. Now you can start this, I think, as early as 5th or 6th grade. And he started it in 8th grade, and he is not even halfway through the book. I want to say he's a quarter of the way through the book. We work on it twice a week, but I have found that he's kind of in between. So he can, you know, write paragraphs and, you know, things like that. But he tends to, I don't know how to explain it. He tends to write in more of a narrative, like caricature type of writing than like an academic type of writing. And so he always sounds like I always compare it, he sounds like he's doing like a diary of a wimpy kid on every single paper. And so we have really been sitting down and going step by step by step together. And so it has really taken a lot more time this year. And so we are going to finish this up. I have Write Shop 1 for him, so that when we're done with this, we can move into that. But I honestly think that this is probably going to take at least another year, which is totally fine. But I was not anticipating that. I was thinking that we would get this done in a year's time, and it's looking like it's going to take at least 2 years. So that is what we're doing for composition. Okay, so for science, this is not necessarily something I would pick if a child was college bound, but since he's currently not, we are doing Guest Hollow's biology. And the thing I like about Guest Hollow biology is that it is very multi-sensory. It has you reading, it has you doing hands-on experiments, it has you watching videos, and it just has lots of different aspects to it. You basically buy a guide, I think it was like $25, and then they have the book on there for free. And so he will go over the book, and then you also incorporate literature. So these are some of the books that he has right now. And these were just the ones that I picked for him doing for like the first half of the year, I think. So these are the types of books that I was talking about that are good for high school level reading that he can incorporate into his reading journal. So kind of using it double faceted without him having to put in twice as much effort. He is easily fatigued when it comes to school, and so I think right now he spends probably a good 3 to 4 hour, maybe 3 hours. And so I think in high school it's probably going to be pushing it to his limit. So I want to gradually move into longer days in high school. Okay, so for Bible, we are all going to be going through this as a family. This is Apologia's What We Believe. This is book 1. This is designed for 6 to 14, so he is 14 this year. And so I figured now's as good of time as any to go over this together. And so if you've ever used Apologia Science, it's set up in a very similar narrative way. So I just like that this is something that we will be able to read over together, and we're not doing the journals or anything like that, but then we're going to be able to answer the questions and things like that. So it's not like a curriculum, but well, it is, but we're not treating it like it's like a full-blown curriculum. It's just something we can incorporate into our day. So it should come as no surprise that we are using Biblioplan for history this coming year. We just finished up book 3, and so now we are moving into book 4. So my high schooler and 5th grader are definitely going to be using it, and possibly my kindergartner. She's more like, hey, I want to do the activities and crafts type of thing. So this is technically the K through 6 textbook, and then the companion is for 7th grade and up. But this is basically, you know, like, the condensed version or the light version of this book. So it has a lot of the same material. So I'm not 100% if he's going to be reading this book or this book. I have both, so I think I'm going to have him start in the companion, but the fact of the thickness is so different is already going to make him a little upset, I'm sure. But I am definitely going to have him use the younger questions. I think they're for 3rd to 8th grade, and then they have a high school level questions and a high school level maps and all of that. And I am just going to keep the current ones that we have, which is, they have littles, middles, and high school, I think is what it is. And so he is just going to do the questions and the map work from the middles, and then maybe in 10th grade we will move to the other ones. But this year it was kind of a challenge. It was kind of a challenge. It was difficult at the beginning of the year to kind of get him to work his way into the questions, and I am glad that I am doing the questions. A lot of people think of it as busy work or things like that, but for my children with dyslexia, it's very important that they write out things because it helps them comprehend what they read. So that is what we're doing for history, and we absolutely love Biblioplan. We love the map work, and we love the activities and all of those things. So very excited to be going into modern history. All right, so for extracurriculars, he is definitely going to be doing an art class at a local art studio. He's very excited about that. He's also going to continue. We got a World Watch subscription this past year, and this is something that we had kind of dabbled in before and didn't really love it. And then with everything going on in the world this past year, I just felt like I wanted my children to get their news from a reliable source that could give it to them gently. And honestly, this is how I get my news now, because it is just a family-friendly version of everything that is going on in the world. And so we are going to continue with World Watch. We absolutely love it now. It is the first thing that my 5th grader wants to do every single day. So that is what he's going to be using for current events. So for health and PE this year, he is going to be using not consumed curriculum Thrive. So this is 3 days a week, and it kind of goes back and forth between physical education and health. So a lot of high schools, I know in my high school, we did health for half a semester, and then we did PE for half a semester. And so it's basically the same thing, except you're kind of rotating it. So this is going to be good for him. He is a very active child, but he's not really involved in like sports or anything guided like that. So I think that this is going to be helpful for him. And honestly, this would probably be something good that he and I can do together, because girl needs to put some work in. So if I have 1 more minute of your time to tell you that if you have a child like mine, it is okay to have a gentler school year in high school. It is okay to have a transition year. It is okay to prioritize things like life skills and therapies and repetition of information that they may have lost. Your homeschool and your high school do not have to look the same as everybody else's. Okay, so that is the curriculum we are using this year. I'd love to know down in the comments what your 9th graders year looks like this year. Is it more gentle like ours? Are you doing a little bit of harder things and your child is super excited for something that they want to do in the future? I'd love to know. Let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.